And so they were married a year later. They came home to their first night of romance, of wedded bliss, only to find their bed taken over by Dan's twin sisters, Patty and Pam, having a sleepover with friends. Soon they realized they had to move out of that in-law apartment and onto Ramona Ave in South Buffalo. And then life changed again. The firstborn. I entered this world on a day that was much like the way I have lived my life. Extreme, stormy, fierce, unpredictable, complex, and stunningly beautiful. It was March 3rd, one of the most notorious ice storms in the history of Buffalo. Slipping and sliding to the hospital was a great challenge. And during the birth, the hospital lights were flashing on and off as I made my grand dramatic arrival. Soon, a delicate little girl was born with rosebud lips and sweet, tender eyes, named Amy Danielle after Daniel. Dad fell madly in love. After the birth, Dad went home alone while Mom stayed in the hospital. He was rumbling and churning and shaken to the core. He spent the night wrought with emotion, a mixture of joy and fear, and so many other things, soul-searching, putting his head in his hands and weeping, marveling at the new life that was before him. It was a new birth for him, a shedding of the snakeskin of the old, a shedding of a whole life of a wild and crazy hippie, the tumultuous magnitude of having a tiny little tender being in his forever care. And so this is the story he tells me. In the quiet of the house, in the sacred stillness of the wee hours of the night, Jesus appeared to him and said, "You have an extraordinary being in your care. Let her be." And then the Beatles' "Let It Be" looped over and over in his mind. And I will never know if this story is real, or if it was a dream, or a vision, or an imagining. But I do know the meaning of it, and it forever resonates. Let her be became Dad's mantra. And he did so gracefully. He let me be while holding the space for my becoming. He adored me to the celestial stars and beyond. He would never tell me no, which resulted in so many stray barn kittens. And when his 11-year-old daughter went through a horse obsession phase, he was probably the only dad who actually bought me a horse. My beloved Buffy, Dad and I would ride her through the woods and had so many beautiful moments together with Buffy. I was cut perfectly from Daniel's precise and specific soul cloth. We were soulmates, sharing the same healing powers, the same magic, the same soul alchemy, the same difficulties, patterns, and internal challenges that require deep work. We profoundly are soulmates. When I would touch my dad or rub his head, he loved for me to rub his head and his legs, especially the past year when he was ill. When I would touch him, I would travel into his being and walk through all his open doors, and it was like walking through the mansion of myself. Our beings would weave together as one. He was my biggest ally, my dearest supporter. Never a touch of judgment. Whatever I would share, whatever I would do, Dad would only receive. Looking back, I can say I will never be loved quite in this way again, but what a miracle to have been loved in this way. Simply miraculous. And our beings continue to weave together in perfect harmony. And I know I have a supporter and an ally lifting me from beyond.